We just love how your colors are bold and natural. We
Yep.
love the contrast and you're not filtered. And so part of that is what I see from my eyes. And then the rest of it is you guys.
Hi, my name's Hannah Hall-Beddoe. I'm a wedding photographer based in Cumbria in the UK, and you are listening to the Workflows Photography Podcast.
How's it going, David?
Hey, things are great. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. So, I like to look at everybody I speak to. I like to look at their website and look at their work and really just like dial in before I have these conversations, because I find that it could be that like for 10 years of my life I spent in the photography website space, but I find that I really get to know a person pretty well just by looking at their photography website. So I love that your style is this like very true to life, vibrant color look. It's definitely something that I strive to do in all my photos with a slight modification, but I'm a very simple editor. And anyway, so with that, you also have a variety of different services that you offer between weddings and headshots and corporate events and so on. And then real estate, pet photography, it's sort of everywhere. And I'm wondering what your favorite is of all of it that you do.
The favorite genre for me is the one that pays.
Okay.
Like, it's really interesting. In 6 months, I'll have been in photography for 25 years, and the universe always seems to provide for me. So, in some instances, in one year, weddings are popping and they're busy, and I love that industry. And in other years, it's a corporate arena where they're sending me out throughout the United States to photograph their conferences. I just like being in the space, capturing those moments, and being engaging with people. I don't necessarily have a favorite genre because every year it's completely different for what I'm
Mhm.
given.
So what's leading the pack right now in 2024? What's leading as far as, helping your business the most?
Right now, it's conferences, it's corporate headshots, and real estate photography. It
Nice.
seems
Nice.
like when the pandemic lifted and we were getting back to normal, everyone rushed to get married, and everyone, including myself, we were struggling trying to keep up with the demand. And I
Mhm.
feel like, at least in my area, it's kind of waned a bit. And so as that's eased up, it seems like corporate America is ramping up and people are ramping up their resumes looking for new headshots. And that's what's keeping me busy these days.
Nice. On your Instagram, you have some photos with some celebrities. I'm curious, who's your favorite celebrity that you've met, photographed, and got a selfie with?
By yeah, by far Magic Johnson. Like, he
Nice.
is a jokester and he is the super easiest, nicest person to hang around with. Like, he wanted to make sure that everybody was included in the space with 1,000 people. We all
Mhm.
felt like we were friends. Like, I don't know how
Mhm.
he was able to like get everyone on board, but we felt like we could hang out with him within the first 2 minutes of him speaking. He's
That's
down to
amazing.
earth. He's very business minded. And
Mhm.
surprisingly, and I'm a huge Lakers fan, he's a better business person than he is a basketball player, which that kind of sounds bad. But when you hear his backstory and you know what
Yeah.
he's done on the
Mm.
business realm, like, the
Yeah.
guy is brilliant.
Yeah. And he's pretty short. Just
Nah, man.
kidding.
So
Yeah.
tall.
Yeah. If you didn't hear my sarcasm in that.
Yeah, no, I got it.
So as we're talking about shooting, right? In what could have been your favorite, right? Let's dive right into the workflows for your photographic process. Behind the camera, you've got the camera in your hand. What is one thing you do for the photographic process that saves you time?
I hurry up and I slow down.
Okay.
For me, it's very important to assess my area, to look around, whether it's I'm doing a wedding or if I'm doing conference photos. I have to figure out what is in my space that either adds or subtracts to an image. So I'll be the first one to move things. If I see a trash can that might be in the shot during a grand entrance, it's going to be moved beforehand because I don't want to
Mhm.
go back 50, 60 images and edit the trash cans out. I
Yeah.
want to make sure that aesthetically, when I get into a space to photograph, that I'm only focusing on the people in the image as I'm not having things in the background distracted. So I will spend a few minutes to like declutter a room or to move things around to make it work. Sometimes I'll even take picture frames off the wall because it just doesn't work with my scene.
Mhm.
I found over the years it's so much easier to spend just a few minutes in the beginning to get things set up to have a great finished product.
Yeah. When you're doing like a corporate event, do you have to get permission to move things or take stuff off the walls, or you just do it?
I don't know if I'm supposed to get permission, but I just do it
Do
because
it. Yeah.
they're hiring us as a professional, right? And as a professional, if I
Hmm.
think something's going to be an obstacle for a finished
Yeah.
product, then I'll just do it. And most,
Hmm.
I don't think I've ever had anyone say you can't do that.
Yeah.
Every now and again, I'll talk to like a bartender. I'm like, hey, can I move this? During the first dance, can I move
Yeah.
this trash can? And they're like, yeah, no problem. But for the most part,
Yeah.
I just go and do it.
Yeah. Related, but also unrelated. So at, what was it, Imaging USA? So 2024 Imaging USA, or maybe it was WPPI. I can't remember exactly which. Oh, it was WPPI because I remember it was the second of the big events. So they where our booth was, we had a fantastic location, but they planted one of the giant garbage cans like the corner front. If you're facing our booth, it was like the front left corner of our booth, like practically touching our booth, our carpet. And I'm like, this is a I mean, it's convenient to throw stuff away, but it's distraction. Like, so I moved it to mid aisle, and by the next day they put it back. Like they didn't want to
Ah,
remove it. I was like,
ah.
you kidding me? Like it's not that we're photographing our booth. I mean, we took a group photo at the booth, whatever, but it's just it's ugly, And so, but yeah, so I totally get it. Trying to move things out of the way that are distraction. It definitely makes sense because that's going to save you a lot of time from there on to make sure that the photo, you don't have to use generative fill and all that stuff in Photoshop to get rid of it. So
Yeah, and
yeah.
generative fill is great, but you got to remember I started pre-YouTube era, so we didn't have any
Hmm.
of those tools that you can circle
Yeah.
around and erase. It was
Yep.
going through every single image and trying to recreate what was in the background. So, kudos to Adobe and kudos to what we have today, but going back as far as I have, I mean, I even started with film. Like that's
Hmm.
not an option. So it's a
Right.
process that might be outdated, but I still feel like 2 minutes in the beginning will save you hours at the end.
Yep. For sure. Moving into the business side of things, what is one thing you do for your business that either saves you time or money?
Okay. So for me is actually spending money and taking the time to build a CRM system. I was the
Nice.
first one to
Okay.
say, hey, why would I have a CRM system? I can like create a Word document and have all these
Mm.
forms and just cut and paste and back and forth. But as the business grew and as things got busier, I realized that I couldn't keep up with the cut and paste aspect. I couldn't keep up with following up with clients. And so having a CRM system that you've built that helps you with the flow of your customer, your client experience from the beginning to the end has really helped me level up. I can get more
Mm.
clients in. They all feel like they're having a personal touch, and it's all just, sending out emails that have already been created by adding a
Yeah.
sentence or two.
So as you just said, you didn't want to do like the Excel, the Google Sheet, the Word document, whatever it might be. So you must have gone through progressions of CRM systems over the years in your business. How many times have you changed CRM systems over the years?
I had two.
Two. Okay.
And I've ended up with 17 hats. Hats for
Okay.
life. Customer service is fantastic.
Mhm.
The interface, although I'm not a programmer, it took a few months to get familiarized with it. But once
Mhm.
you're in it, you realize how much it can do for you autonomously without you even being part of the process. That
Mhm.
helps clients have touch points throughout the inquiry phase. Once they're booked, there's touch points that I have with my clients that will get them close to their engagement session with tips or get them close to planning their wedding and having the room clean by the time I get there. And then there's even like post follow up where I can follow up for reviews, I can follow up with gift cards, etc. And when you spend time to build it, you just activate a workflow and it does its thing. And I fucking love it. Whoops.
It's
I
all good.
freaking love it. I freaking love it. It's fantastic.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, CRMs are definitely a game changer for every business, whether you're a photography or something else. I mean, it's, yeah, I think like going from a spreadsheet is a good starting point for a brand new business, but you could if your business is going well, you're going to quickly evolve into a true CRM. So it's nice that you didn't have to change too many times, because changing can be such a hassle. So
Yeah.
good. Let's talk about editing now for a second. What is one thing you do for editing, besides from Imagine, that has saved you time?
Learning your white balance.
Mm.
If you can learn your white balance in camera before you take a shot
Hmm.
and getting it dialed in beforehand, it can save you so much time in the back end. And if you're working with additional photographers, if you come up with a white balance within a couple hundred, points away, you're going to have a congruent edit, especially once you put it through the Imagine software.
Yeah. Do you have a tool of choice that you use for getting, proper white balance in camera?
These eyeballs. I
Nice.
mean,
All right.
with mirrorless cameras, you can dial it in before you even press the button. So
Hmm.
if you can get your exposure, your ISO, your shutter, your f-stop in, and then you get your ISO your white balance dialed in, you're for the most part good to go.
Nice. Whenever I do, so I'm colorblind. So I've always had a struggle with color since the film days, and my tool of choice has always been the Color Checker Passport. The pre Passport version, it was the big Color Checker. But when they came out with Color Checker Passport and it talked to Lightroom so perfectly, I immediately switched to that. I was like, ooh, this saves me even more time. So that's always been my choice, but it's because
Yeah.
I can't trust my eyeballs.
Yeah. And that's brilliant. And that's why I have conversations with my second shooters, because I have two second shooters that are also colorblind. And so I'm like, hey, try to be around 3900. And they're like, okay, great start. But it's really interesting that you mentioned that my style of photography is true colors, true to life. And that's what I strive for. And every client that reaches out to me says the exact same thing. We just love how your colors are bold and natural. We
Yep.
love the contrast, and you're not filtered. And so part of that is what I see from my eyes, and then the rest of it is you guys. Like, your software is basically creating another version of me, which is fantastic.
Right. Sweet. Yeah, we're going to get to Imagine down the road, but let's now move into what happens after a session. So let's say I'm just going to throw out there a corporate event, okay? What do you do after a corporate event that has either, well, let's just go, what happened after a corporate event that has increased business for future corporate events?
Okay. Well, we could start with what's happening during, and then we can jump into what happens after.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
during a corporate event, I always make sure I know who all the head players are, not only to the corporate clients that are hiring me, but there's probably big wigs there, right? That probably need a new headshot, or probably need some new photographs where they're speaking at a presentation. So I try to figure out who the key players are to make sure that I have photographs for them. And then I also have a point of contact, whether it's a digital asset person or it's someone who's on the social media team. Through the conference, every hour, I'm constantly sending them snippets of what's happening so they can share on their social media spreads, they can share on their LinkedIn in real time to engage the people that are there and to engage the people that wanted to be there that are going to book the next year. So I provide a same day service for all of my clients at additional charge, of course, but I can send them content that they can use and they can share in real time. And that gets them, oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to ask, sorry to cut you off, but I'm curious, can you walk through that piece of that workflow for us? Like,
Sure.
how are you doing that where you're getting it so fast to that social media team while you're in the middle of the event?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm a Canon guy, and most camera companies these days have a tethering system or an app so you can access your photos or you can send them to your phone. I use a feature that can tag the images from my camera. So when I pull up the app, it'll show me only the ones that I've tagged, and it's just a quick button. So when I have a few minutes, a few downtime minutes, I turn on the app, I pull up the ones that I want to tag. I've got an iPhone, I hit the auto button. And for the most part, they're good to go. And then I usually have the person's contact and WhatsApp information. WhatsApp allows you to send about 29 or 30 images at a time, and I just push them through. Whether it's an individual person or if it's a group WhatsApp message, I can send up to 30 at a time, and it doesn't take any time at all. It's fairly quick, but the wow factor that clients get are like, how did you get these so soon? And how are they so
Right.
amazing? Because my iPhone's not doing this. It's like, that's why you're hiring a pro. That's why you're hiring a
Yeah.
pro.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so that was great. Thanks for sharing that. You were saying, I think you were about to move into after the
Afterward,
event.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm always plugging like, wait, you guys don't get this service already with your other photographers and your other locations? Like, we've never seen this. This is great. And I always thought, hey, I travel, right? Hey, I travel, right? And then afterwards, I send them their gallery within a couple of days, and they're like, these are so quick. I can't believe they're done so fast. How do you do
Mm-hmm.
it? Well, I have a team. My team is, of course, you guys. But they're so excited to have photos during the conference and photos after the conference within a couple of days. And I reiterate, hey, where are you guys going next year? Would you like the same service from me next? You already know the experience that you've gotten with me. Would you like me to come with you guys next year? And
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing. Most of them say yes. And it's
That's
great
awesome.
because I get a vacation and I get to travel and I get to do what I love. So it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. That is cool. That is cool. Nice. My favorite part of the show, which I started doing in season 2, and I'm going to keep it going until people get bored of it. Pick
I already
a
know.
color.
Green, green.
Whew.
That was the one that was in my head before
All
we
right.
even started.
All right. I'm going to thumb through them. You tell me when to stop.
Okay. Go ahead. Stop.
All right. I love that you knew where I was going with this. Okay. Ooh. This is going
Dun,
to be a good
dun,
one.
dun.
Did your childhood shape you into who you are today?
I suppose everyone's childhood shapes them to who they are today. With regards to photography and my business, we had like the Life Touch portraits every year from our school. Like
Mm-hmm.
back then, they would give us a free sheet of wallets, and that's pretty much all we could afford. Like we didn't buy packages for everyone. We didn't go to a place to have professional photographs. And when I was about 13, I realized that while most families had like pictures on the wall and lots of photographs from trips and vacations, we couldn't afford that. We didn't have that. So
Mm.
it branched out in a journey for me to start photography. And I started with the 110 camera, then I got a 35 millimeter camera, then I got an SLR camera. And at some point, it became a business. But I realized the importance and the power of photography, especially not having any of it at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so knowing that I create, whether it's even a corporate function or a birthday or a wedding, like I'm creating like a moment in time that's going to live past me. And that is epic. That's like food for my soul. So has it affected who I am today as an adult? Absolutely.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Well said. Okay. So this is the part where you're going to be digging deep. And I have a feeling because you've been doing this for so long and you have a lot of systems in place that you're going to nail this one. Taking a look at your business from a 30,000 foot view down, can you share an outline breakdown of your workflow from lead to delivery? And let's focus. We've been talking about corporate events. I think that's a great place to focus because I know you're going to have a different structure for weddings than you would for a corporate event versus headshots, et cetera. So let's focus on the corporate event.
Sure. Well, regardless of the genre of photography, the formula is mostly the same. You get an inquiry that comes in and you respond to it. In the corporate arena, what I found that's been super helpful is try to get back to them within 10 minutes or less. Try to focus on scheduling a Zoom or a phone call with them to get the information that you need to get them an accurate quote. And when you do, go ahead and send them your 1099 and send them your business insurance. So it's something that they don't have to ask for later.
Mm.
And I found that in most instances, I'm the only one that's doing it. So to all the Imaginers out there that are growing their corporate arena business, include it. They will be surprised that you've done that along with a quote that represents what they need. So that's immediate. They have the quote, they've got the tax forms, they've got the business insurance. Then it's just a series of follow-ups. If I haven't heard from them in a couple of days, I'll send them another follow-up. I'll have a link through my CRM system that will set up a Zoom call automatically, which is great. I don't have to be part of that. It looks at my availability and then they pick a date and time. Then we get on a Zoom call with all the players that are planning the conference. and we answer any additional questions that they have. At that time, I throw in, oh, by the way, would you like a headshot station for your
Mm.
guests? Would you like to have team photos for your executives? So I'm always building add-ons, and I'm also adding a service that they might have thought about. So at that point, it's either they're going to pick me or they're not. If they do,
Mhm.
then it's a series, it's a contract, then it's a few additional emails that I send out to them on planning their conference, like trying to get timelines, trying to get pictures of the people who are important for me to photograph, and any last minute changes that I might need to know about that we hadn't talked about earlier in the year. Do I go all the way to the end or do I go up to this point? Where do you want me to
You
start? Stop.
it's wherever you feel comfortable going. It's all good. We got time. So
Okay,
this
cool.
is the part where people really get like the little nuggets, like the one you just shared about sharing like the insurance and stuff. That was a good nugget that most people probably did not think of. So this is the juicy part.
Okay, absolutely. So during the conference, I mean, of course, you're working the contact that hire you, and in many cases, it's either an internal person that only deals with conferences and events, or they hire a third party company that does them. Like you're networking with them in real time to make sure that they're getting exactly what they need. You're meeting the CEOs and the important people, and getting them by first name and making sure that they understand that I'm here for them. And then you engage and you get some fun pictures with people at conferences. The very first conference photography that I photographed, it was for investors. And the lady's like, "You're not going to get any good engaging photos. This is a boring crowd." And I'm like, challenge accepted. And I got the most fun and most engaging photographs from the event. And like,
Nice.
since that event, they hire me twice a year and it's great
That's
because I'm able to get something out of people that only deal in numbers. Like
mhm.
everyone wants to have fun, everyone wants to smile. You just have to figure out how to get them into that space. So take them all the way through, send them photos daily, do recaps, do follow ups every morning to see if there's anything that I can do better or if anything that I might have missed or any last minute changes. Because in conferences, things change all the time. Rooms change, speakers
Mhm.
change, etc. Post event, follow up with all of the major contacts. If you have time, which typically I don't post a lot on social media, but because I've been giving the photographs to the social media team, they're posting my stuff and tagging me. So it kind of works that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Then
That's a
follow
big
up.
win.
Yeah, it's a big win because they're doing my job for me, right?
Yep.
And then lastly, just follow up. Make sure that you're asking for those reviews. Make sure that you're asking for critiques to make things better. And then ask for the sale. Ask to go with them next year. Like
Mhm.
let them check that off their list of things to do for the following year because many of these conferences go to different states every year. And do they really want to start all over with another photographer they never worked with?
Right.
Probably
Right.
not. They already know your
Yeah.
service is great. They already know the photos are great. They already know the experience is great.
Yeah.
They will bring you along.
It's kind of, I mean, it's not kind of, it is the same. If you go to Imaging USA, you go to WPPI, Imaging USA changes locations every year, but you always see the same people photographing the speakers, in their classes and at the photo walks and stuff like that. WPPI is always in the same location, but it's always the same, except for this upcoming one where they're changing hotels. But like same thing every year, it's the same people because they know those people are going to produce what they want for promoting the event for the following year, and et cetera, et cetera. So that totally makes sense. I do have a question about when you're going back and forth about pricing. How often do you find yourself like in the bid running with another photographer? And if it happens often, does the event coordinator come back and say, it's down between you and so, they came in at this price. Can you match it or beat it? Or can you do something like, do you have to negotiate with them because of competition?
Sometimes, but I will say as a general rule, you're never part of that conversation because they'll never tell you what the budget is
Mm-hmm.
in many cases. So you don't know what to strive for. So you just shoot for what you feel like is good for you for a daily rate. But it's either they love you after the Zoom call, they love you after the clear and concise, broken down quote by
Mm-hmm.
day. And my quote says, here are the hours, here's what my deliverables, here's what I'm doing. If they love the consistency of like what I'm providing them and in the speed that I'm providing them, price is less of an issue. But if price is an issue and they aren't able to give you a budget amount and they pick someone that's cheaper, you'll probably never hear from them again. And that's okay because those are not my clients. My clients are
Mm-hmm.
the ones that can appreciate quality service and quality images.
Awesome. Let's talk about AI for a minute. You know, we brought up a little while ago generative fill, how, you know, years ago when you first started, I'm you and I are probably this similar age, same thing, it didn't exist, we were shooting film, but now AI is in everything. So what does the future of AI in photography look like to you?
Well, if you asked me a year ago, because I was just looking at my iPhone reel and it showed a year ago that I tried generative AI. A year ago, I felt like getting out of the industry because I'm
Mm.
not huge on learning new things. And when I saw what generative fill could do, I freaked out. Like, we're going to be replaced within a couple of years. And as AI has evolved, it's not perfect, but now I can see how I can utilize it as a tool in my business to get better images, to do better work, and to have more time for myself.
Awesome. Yeah, I do think that the AI that's things like in Photoshop and whatnot will definitely take some of what we do away, but at the same time, I think it's going to play a bigger role in helping us do better things rather than take our jobs away. Yeah, it's going to impact, but I think it's going to be more of a benefit in the long run. But time will tell, of
Time
course.
will tell.
I do think there are some, and this has come up in the past episodes. I do think there are some genres that are more at risk of being replaced than others.
Mm-hmm.
Headshots, for example. Not that I want it to, but it's too easy for the AI to replace that genre. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. Have you tried the headshots? Because that was the first thing that I did. And headshots don't work on bald people.
They don't work well.
I have tried. Like they've
Yeah.
given me red hair and green hair
Yep.
and hair in general. I don't have hair.
Yep.
So at least for the demographic like us,
Yeah.
people who are follically challenged will need a photographer for headshots
I
until
also
they get
find
better.
it often tries to make me into a Viking as well. Like
Nice.
I look all scruffy. Like, I don't know. It is funny. It is funny. It's not quite there yet, but it's only going to get better and better. So, I mean, it is a little scary that it has the potential of replacing that genre. But okay. So, as we talked about originally, just to loop things back around, you've got a wide range of work in genre of photography. There's one that is fairly new to Imagine that I don't think, I know we emailed briefly about it, the whole real estate genre. Did you have a chance to try the real estate features yet or not yet?
I have not. So
Okay.
feel free to walk me through it.
Well, yeah, so we can always talk about it, but my question, besides from the real estate, because you haven't tried it yet, how did Imagine impact your life otherwise?
Sure. So I'll be first to say that I've tried the big boxes, companies that did the contracts with you'll have a personal editor and they'll edit your style. And I've done that.
Mhm.
And it's taken so long and it was never right. And you'd send it back and forth for 2 and 3 months and they wouldn't get your style. And it was just easier to just edit yourself.
Mhm.
I've tried the big box companies, I've tried individuals, and I just couldn't get them to even get close to my style. And I don't feel like my style is that much different to life. So it should be easy. But I was at a point in my business where I was hemorrhaging. I couldn't keep up with my demand. And of course, I didn't want to learn Imagine. And you're like, oh, you need 5,000 or was it 7,500 at the time? Just feed it your catalog and it'll start working. And I'm like, yeah, right. I'm going to try it. And then it did. And it kind of freaked me out. Like, there's another version of me without me having to hire another version of me. And I was able to take my deliverables from like 2 to 3 weeks from a wedding. And now for weddings on Saturday, in most cases, it's available to the client on Monday or Tuesday. And when I was doing 8 to 10 weddings per month during the peak post-pandemic, I was still getting a consistency of getting weddings done in just a few days past their wedding date. And for me, I don't sleep. If I have a lot of stuff I need to edit, my brain doesn't shut off and I get like these minor panic attacks. But with Imagine, it's helped me like manage my time better. And because now I can get through, because calling back in the day would take me about 4 hours. And now it's like, you guys do it. And then I recheck it in maybe 15 minutes. And then editing would take them a day and a half to 2 days. And now it's like 2 to 3 hours. So I found myself with more time. And of course, with great power comes great responsibility. I thought that I would have more time for myself. But what Imagine has allowed me to do is to ramp up my business and to get more business and to expand into other genres that inevitably keeps me busier now than before. So it feels like I have an assistant that can do the heavy lifting for me while I focus on the task at hand that makes me the money, which is booking clients, booking events, and pulling my camera out instead of being behind my camera, being behind the computer and editing.
Are you at the point now with the aid of Imagine, of course, as you just said, but are you at the point now where if you got a lead for a job and they were like, we need you like on this specific weekend, but you had like planned to go on a vacation finally, do you, in your head, are you thinking, do I take this and earn the money, or do I go and enjoy my time and just turn down a job because I don't absolutely need that money right now because I'm doing so well? You know, like what goes through your head in those type of situations now?
I still go for the money because
Okay. All right.
because Imagine can work wherever, right? I mean,
True.
you can call an edit while you're at the airport. Like it's not a big thing anymore, where it used to be a daunting task where if I knew I was going on a vacation, they needed the photos in 3 or 4 days, and it was at the beginning of my vacation, you know, I would ruin my vacation by focusing on work. And now it's like just press a couple buttons and just review it for a little bit, and then upload it to your gallery and send them your automated emails to get them those images as soon as possible. So yeah, I always go for the money because in this industry, you know, I'm getting up there. I'll be 50 in a little over a year. We kind of age out, especially in certain genres. So when work comes, I'm going to jump on it because I don't know when the next opportunity will be. And my reality is it's a world of abundance. There's enough work for everyone. But I'm always like, oh, let me just get this next event. Let me get this next project.
Yeah.
But through the help of your software, I don't have to worry about deadlines anymore because I know that the heavy lifting is done by you. So I can focus on being present in the moment, taking pictures for my clients.
Are you, when you deliver fast, are you doing an add-on for a faster turnaround time? Or
Depends.
are you just, okay.
Depends. Yeah, absolutely. So I have, I call them luxury edits for my brides and grooms. If they want to have their entire gallery within 48 hours, it's an upcharge. I have the same thing for corporate clients. If they want them done within 24 hours, there's an upcharge. Now, if it's a client that I'm trying to win their bid for the following year, I will throw that in as an incentive to get their business for the following year.
Good idea.
So I just waive that for them. And then going forward, waive it for them as well. Now, what is it costing me? Absolutely nothing. But the dollar amount that's associated with the express edits is something that they're considering when booking me and taking me to another city or another state.
Right. I can see that working extremely well for corporate events, for that recurring work year after year. That's a very good idea. So kudos on doing that.
Thanks.
So David, this has been great. I know there's so many takeaways that people are going to have from this. And I'm so happy because it's not too often that on the show we get to talk about corporate events. So often it's weddings and portraits, which of course there's portraits involved with corporate events, but it's different enough that it's a joy and refreshing to be able to talk about that rather than the norm, right? So thank you for sharing some knowledge with everybody on that genre. So where can listeners learn more about you, connect with you, and of course see your incredible photography?
Sure. So on the web, you can find me at David England Photography, England like the country. You can also find me on Instagram, same handle, David England Photography. I'm not on any other site, so feel free to hit me up, send me a DM if you'd like. I am based in Long Beach, so if there are any local photographers I would like to meet for coffee, catch up, chat, network, feel free to hit me up. If not, I hope to see everyone at some kind of conference in the coming year or two.
Amazing. Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
You have been listening to the Workflows Photography Podcast. To hear more from Workflows, to learn more about our guest, and for an exclusive offer for Workflows listeners, please go to workflowspodcast.com. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.